Hillary Clinton has polling troubles, but they're almost comical. Leave it to the DNC. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Welcome to the show, friend. Before I talk to you about Hillary, I need to continue to visit this discussion of the Iowa caucus and the Iowa straw poll, okay, which are two different things, and explain to you why they matter, all right? And by the way, in case you have not followed it, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, and Mike Huckabee have all said thus far that they are not going to participate, meaning that they're not going to spend a lot of money to bus people in, pay for their hotel, pay for their food. Jeb Bush has problems, polling problems in Iowa. One of the polls I read said, I think it was 39% of the people polled said that they would never vote for him under any circumstances. So that means he's got some open hostility in Iowa. So it's not a surprise that he's not following in his brother's footsteps. Because remember, in case you forgot, George Bush the Younger won the straw poll in 1999 and then went on to win the caucus in 2000, become the nominee in 2000, and win the presidency in 2000. So Karl Rove pulled a coup because Rove spent a fortune bussing in, ready, Texans who voted in the Iowa straw poll. And so people like Mike Huckabee are saying, we don't need this. We don't need infighting right now because the elite moneyed people in D.C. will use this to have the Republicans fighting one another. But I want to tell you why I think the straw poll is important and why I think it's critical that the caucus remain in Iowa, being the first primary in the nation. The moneyed people, the elite in the Republican Party, who don't live and govern by the fear of God, and you'll know this, but they might say they do. I'm a Christian, blah, blah, blah. Look, if they're not fighting against the murder of babies, saying that they will defund Planned Parenthood, that they want a litmus test for Supreme Court judges, they will not be appointed to the Supreme Court by a Republican president unless they swear that they will overturn Roe versus Wade. They will not defend marriage between one man and one woman to the hilt. Okay, they don't govern by the fear of God. Okay, they are treacherous to the laws of God. They might speak one thing with their mouth, but they do something else with their actions. They're Machiavellian. They're treacherous. They're deceitful. If these people get their way, the influence of Iowa at the front end of this whole process will be gone. And guess who else would like for that to be so? Are you ready? The media elite. Yes, our fourth estate in government. The New York Times and the Washington Post and CBS and NBC and ABC. Do you think that they want to spend the money to send their elite reporters to Iowa? No. And do you think that the reporters want to go? No. They want to go to the cool cities with the great jazz clubs and the great restaurants and the party life. They don't want to go to Des Moines, Iowa. Are you hearing me? I'm going to tell you a story because it's true. And if there's small children room, maybe they shouldn't be here, but I'll be discreet. I had a friend years ago whose daughter was on the presidential plane, okay? This is the plane that was in the media world. There are some reporters who get to be on the plane with the president, and then often there's another whole plane that travels behind them, okay? They're part of the presidential detail for media. And the daughter of this man said, Dad, you cannot believe what it's like with these journalists who fly and travel with the president. They are absolutely debauched. They'll be talking on the plane, who's going to sleep with who tonight? Just open immorality. Do you think that they want a principled conservative Christian to win the presidency? Do you think that people like that? Now, I don't know who's on the plane today. I don't know what their lifestyles are like today. Judging from how bad things are, it wouldn't surprise me if they were pretty bad. And you can do your own homework on the various activities of journalists, not to mention the Secret Service. But that aside, the personal behavior of these people aside, it's their ethics. It's what they believe in. The vast majority of these journalists believe in child killing. They believe in matrimony between two people of the same gender. They want these things to continue. They hate devout Christianity, devout Catholicism. They are ready to accommodate Islam at every turn. These journalists are not our friend. And so you're going to have journalists, whatever happens with the straw poll in August, you're going to have journalists who, let's say that Rand Paul wins the straw poll. They're going to say, well, but it really doesn't matter because Jeb Bush wasn't there and Marco Rubio wasn't there and Mike Huckabee wasn't there. So much of this is for naught. And then they'll stick the mic in front of Mike Huckabee or in front of Rubio or in front of Jeb Bush, and they're going to give them sound bites, equal time, saying that even though Rand Paul won the caucus, it really doesn't matter. They're going to do everything they can to structure the story in such a way that they're shooting an arrow into the heart of the Iowa straw poll. So if you guys in Iowa, hear me out. If you want this straw poll to continue this year and more importantly in the future with having the impact that it should and could have, change the rules quickly. As painful as it will be, make it so that people, you know what, I got to take a break. All right, let me take a break and I'll give the Iowa people some advice. We're going to talk about Hillary, but I also want to talk about one other issue, why the Iowa process, both the straw poll and more importantly the caucus, is so critical. The word is retail. I'll be right back.
Hey, everyone's been asking me, when's Unstoppable coming out on DVD? Well, it's here. And I have created my own deluxe signature version of Unstoppable that contains not only the movie, but over 5 hours of additional curriculum and study guides for your family. It's perfect for your homeschool, educational facility, small group Bible study, and family devotions. And I'm going to share with you some of the spiritual warfare that surrounded the release of this film. This box set also includes extended scenes, new music videos, the inside scoop on the whole Facebook controversy. So what are you waiting for? I made this special version with my family in mind, and I know your family will be blessed by it too. Unstoppable 2.0 Deluxe Signature Version. Available only here at KurtCameron.com. I can't wait for you to experience what's inside.
All right, here's my advice for the devout Republican activists in Iowa. I know some of them personally. There are some really good people in the process out there. It's going to be painful for you to do this, and it might be too late for this year, but here's what you need to do. Change the rules. Make it a little bit more appealing. All right? George W. Bush the Younger won the straw poll, and it gave him the momentum he needed because he spent a fortune to bring people in, to bus people in. So on election day, if you pay somebody to go, if you pay their way, right? I mean, want me to do the math for you? It's a criminal act. It's tantamount to bribery. I mean, certain states allow there to be donuts and coffee at polling booths. Some places don't allow anything, if my memory is correct. So you get my point. Make it so that they have to be registered Republicans. Make it so that they have to be residents of the state of Iowa, the true party machinery. And for those of you who don't know what this is all about, a lot of the people who come to this, it's almost a third of the people who actually vote. If you get 20,000 people out at the Iowa straw poll, that's about a third who are going to participate, or maybe a fourth of who will participate in the actual caucus in February. Now remember, I know that this is confusing for people who don't live in Iowa. The Iowa straw poll happens in August of this year. It's a beauty pageant. It has no legal binding impact. The Iowa caucus is the first election in the nation for the Republican primary, usually followed a week later by the New Hampshire primary. So Iowa plays a key role, all right? So friends in Iowa, you're going to have to change the rule or you're going to become a part of the past. And remember, a lot of things serve a useful purpose and then they're no longer useful. The way you can make this useful is make it so that guys come, they give speeches, they glad hand, and then we see who gets the date, okay? Which leads me to the word that I used before, retail. Retail politics, it's called. Well, Randall, what are you selling? Well, if I'm running for president, I'm selling myself, okay? These guys are, and gals for the times that they're women, they generally spend enormous amounts of time raising money, which means they spend enormous amounts of time with wealthy people, hobnobbing, jumping from rich house to rich event, asking for the $1,000, $2,000 checks and whatever the legal limit is at that time, $2,300, $2,400. They're asking people to see if their kids, wink, wink, will donate to the campaign. But then they're also asking to give to their PACs. Cut a $50,000 or a $100,000 or a $250,000 or $1 million check to the PAC. And then these PACs go and they pummel the adversary, all right? It's become very corrupt. It really has. So if these candidates could have it their way, do you really think that they would be shaking hands of people who are just a little off? I mean, the people who are, if for those of you who have not been to these really intense political places, I've been to many of them, and some people would regard me as a little off, all right? Because I'm so dedicated to babies not being murdered. I'm so dedicated to marriage being between one man and one woman. I'm dedicated to the concept that Islam is a threat to human rights and human freedom. And I talk about those things. And then you get the Second Amendment people. And you get people who are wearing t-shirts that say you can have my gun when you pry it off my cold dead fingers. And it's a t-shirt. And they're showing up at a political event in a t-shirt. And maybe they didn't comb their hair or brush their teeth that morning. I mean, it just, the people that come out to these things, it's such a cross-section of America. It's not the wealthy. It's not the elite. And if they are there, if the wealthy and the elite are there, they're wearing their polo shirt and they're doing everything they can to not stick out. But they stick out because their shoes are so perfect and their clothing is so perfectly pressed and their hair is perfect and their jewelry stands out. So the elite are not a part of the common man scenario, sense, vibe that you get at these events. And so it forces these politicians to do retail politics. Shake people's hands. Take questions. Take good questions. Take silly questions. Let somebody rant and rave for 60 or 90 seconds. That's what happens when they have to retail politics, and many of them hate it. So I think it's of great value. I think retail politics is of great value because you get to see what the candidates are really made of. You get to see if they can talk to people, if they're affable, if they're people persons, if they are able to handle good questions, hard questions, silly questions, if they're arrogant, if they're short-tempered. Bob Dole would snap. Oh my goodness, they would catch him on camera. He was so impatient with people. Remember President Dole? All right, anyway, I'll finish with this, okay? Those of us who are conservative, Christians, pro-life, pro-marriage, pro-freedom, pro-Second Amendment around the country, even though most of us don't live in Iowa, I've never participated in an Iowa caucus or straw poll, okay? We need Iowa to stay at the front of the pack. Because if they don't get to stay at the front of the pack, it's going to be New York. It's going to be the elite of Fairfax, Virginia. It's going to be Los Angeles. It's going to be Chicago. These people are going to run the show. They're going to determine who the next Republican nominee is. And the things that we value are going to be cast under the bus faster than you can say grand old party. Okay? So we have a debt to these people, and we need to encourage Iowa's position to continue. And Iowa friends, as I said before, if you want to keep this straw poll alive and well, change the rules. I'll be right back. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Hillary Clinton has polling problems. A recent poll came out and said that 39% of the Democrats believe that she is honest and trustworthy. 60% said she possesses strong leadership qualities. Let the full weight of that sink in, all right? Number 1, these are registered Democrats. Okay? Number 2, only 39% believe that she is honest and trustworthy. But 60% said she shows strong leadership skills. Look at the guns. Does anyone besides me think that this is both tragic and comical? This is like a Greek tragedy and a Greek comedy mingled into one. We don't trust her, but boy, can she lead us. We don't know where she's really taking us. We hear the words that are coming out of her mouth. We don't know. We hear what she's saying she's going to do. We hear where she's saying she's going to take us, but we don't really know. But we know that she has the strength of leadership to get us there. People, friends don't let friends drive drunk. And friends don't let friends vote for Hillary. Remember the movie? The hills are alive. Sound of Music. Remember the nuns when they were trying to help the Von Trapp family get away and the Nazis had pulled up, and then the sister came and said, "Is this a sin, mother?" And she had the distributor cap so that the car wouldn't run. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Friends don't let enemies chase the Von Trapps. And friends don't let friends vote for Hillary. You might want to actually resort to taking the distributor cap off of the car of your friend if you think they're going to vote for Hillary on election day. I'm joking. By the way, no one has a distributor cap anymore. Only car people would know that, okay? They did away with points and condensers and distributor caps several decades ago. Okay, but I will maintain my point. You notice that Hillary almost never talks to reporters now, okay? She is a deceitful woman. Now, if 39% of Democrats think that she's honest and trustworthy, what about those other 61%? Not so sure. They're not so sure about her honesty and her integrity. Roman Catholics have a long tradition of being in the Democratic Party. Southern Baptists, people who are evangelicals deep in the Bible Belt, have a history of being in the Democratic Party. It's a familial history, and it has to do with some economic and employment issues that happened decades ago, okay? If you're a cultural Democrat, you know what? People are cultural Republicans. I get it, all right? If you want to stay in the Democratic Party so that you can influence, I get that. But you need to become outspoken, and you need to say, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Christian, I'm Baptist, I'm a Catholic, whatever it is. But we cannot ethically support this woman. We cannot ethically vote for her because she promotes the murder of babies. She promotes the attack on the integrity of marriage, which is an attack on the laws of God, okay? She has kowtowed to Muslim dictators, taken millions of dollars from Muslim tyrants who would see her enslaved if she lived in one of their countries and tried to behave the way that she behaves there. They'd enslave her, okay? She's not worthy to be the president. She's not trustworthy. She's not even trustworthy to most Democrats, okay? Speak the truth to your Democrat Christian friends and tell them, wake up. Don't vote for this woman. I'll be right back. I have been a leader in the pro-life movement for 30 years. And sadly, we have not prevailed in our goal to make it a criminal act to kill an unborn baby. There's reasons why we have failed. I wrote this book, A Humble Plea, to Catholic bishops, to evangelical clergy, and to lay people, explaining where we went wrong and what we have to do to prevail. We've made this available as a PDF online for free. I encourage you to go and download your own copy. Why does a nice guy like me keep getting thrown in jail? I have been arrested almost 50 times and spent over a year of my life locked up in various prison facilities. And I wrote a book, many books. In fact, one of them is called Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail? It's a theological work, answering those who say that the church should not be involved in politics or that we should retreat. I encourage you to get it. In fact, get one and give it to your pastor. James Madison said, "There is no maxim, in my opinion, which is more liable to be misapplied, and which therefore needs more elucidation, than the current, that the interest of the majority is the political standard of right and wrong." Allow me to jar you just a little bit in thinking about democracy. Are you ready? Number one, Winston Churchill said, "Democracy is the worst form of government except for all the rest." Number two, democracy is not sacred. It's not holy. And by that I mean the results of democracy are not sacred and they're not holy. The founders of this republic actually feared democracy. That's why we have a republic. We actually don't live in a democracy. If you look at the French Revolution, 50% plus one, well, then you have the tyranny of the mob, okay? And I'm going to say some things that I just want you to ponder, okay? Because they're painful for us to think about. They're painful for us to hear. Nazi Germany, the Reichstag, voted to give Hitler dictatorial powers and basically voted itself out of power. Did you know that? It was a democratic vote. Did that make it morally legitimate? Or let me come at it from a completely different angle. Have you heard of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the Lutheran pastor who was a German? If you recall, he was involved in an assassination attempt on Hitler. According to the movie that I saw where Tom Hanks played, I forget the name of the movie, Tom Cruise, I mean. There were some 27 assassination attempts on Hitler. You see where this is headed. If you were in Nazi Germany, would you have had a legitimate right to try and overthrow the government? And here's a final question. If in a legal election, people vote to take our property or to take our lives, to take our freedom, do we have the legitimate right to use violence, force, to fight that election? I know these are not happy thoughts. Just think about them. See you soon.